Venerable members of Maha Sangha, dear brothers and sisters in the Dhamma, thank you very much for giving this opportunity to talk with you again, to share my knowledge with you. So I think again it is given to discuss the fundamental teaching. So fundamental teachings, usually the discussing of the fundamental teachings are not quite interesting, not like literature. So, but this is the only way that we have to realize the Dhamma as well. That's why we need to know what are the fundamental teachings which are proclaimed by the Buddha. So that's what we are going to do, even though that is boring. No other alternative ways to realize the Dhamma. So we have to know as it is. So my topic depend on the impermanence and the detachment. So last Tuesday we were discussing on the Four Noble Truths depend on the Satya. And two type of satya, something like that. That is also relevant to this topic because even in the Four Noble Truth, impermanence is reflected. However, today we are going to discuss regarding the impermanence with the primary and the secondary sources, and also the detachment. That is the most profound doctrinal aspect that we have to realize one day. Detachment, practically how we involve with the detachment with regard to the sources. That's what I am going to discuss with you today. What is impermanence? So that is the important. So etymologically we have to know what is the impermanent, what is anicca. So there is a club that is called the Anicca Club. Anicca Club in Malaysia. There is a Anicca Club. That means club also based on the impermanence. So that is the way. So anicca. So the simply we say that is the impermanent stands as the foundational truth in the Theravada Buddhism. As a foundational truth we have to understand. So last week we discussed the conventional and the ultimate truth in the Buddhism, which is reflected in the sources. So this is what we discussed. Anicca also inserted into that list. That is a foundational truth in Buddhism. So without knowing the impermanence objectively, we may not understand what it is in the world. There is something in the world that we have to grasp. So why do not grasp it? Contextually? With regard to the Buddhism, so we have the one issue regarding the language. So there is a language, but through language we cannot understand everything. Do you think that the language is sufficient to understand everything? No. Something cannot be uttered by the language. For example, if I say that, can you explain the taste of salt? You can explain the salt. How we made salt, and also how we add to the dishes, something like that. We can explain the salt. But the thing is, can you explain the taste of salt? Cannot. Is it sour? Is it bitter? Or something else? Yeah. So that is what we have to understand. There is something in the world cannot uttered by the words. Another example is the Nibbana. What is Nibbana? Etymologically, it's okay. There is something like this. There are the people who realize the Nibbana, and also there is a straight path to realize the Nibbana, something like. There are two folds of the Nibbana, like Sopadisesa and Anupadisesa. So all characteristics are reflected here as well. However, we don't know what it is. Then what is the problem here? The main thing that we have to realize that even though there is something in the world, we have to realize throughout our senses, throughout our faculties. But the another issue is, all faculties cannot be developed. All faculties cannot be developed. So the another thing, there is a knowledge that is called the perception. There are the ways of knowledge in the world with regard to even Buddhism and the philosophy. But for example, if I say that the knowledge of perception, before go to the inference, then what is that? Even in the knowledge of perception, we cannot say something with regard to the existent knowledge, existent language. That's why in the yoga philosophy, they suggest that there must be something to do as yoga. Yoga means yogi jnana. Knowledge depend on the yoga. Yoga means the meditation. So therefore, throughout this way, I mean throughout the way of meditation, we can grasp something that cannot be uttered by the words. So initially, why Buddha thought not to preach Dhamma? Some people cannot understand whatever it is. Some people understand a few. So, for instance, if I say that sometimes Buddha says feelings are 3, sometimes feelings are 5. Why the different numbers of feelings? Then some monks ask, why, Venerable Sir, the mention the feelings are 3, sometimes feelings are 5. Why? No systematical way to preach Dhamma. Sometimes 3, sometimes 5, sometimes 8. Why? What was the Buddha's answer? Buddha's answer was, if there are people that can understand the 3 folds, I preach only the 3 for their understanding. Their knowledge depends on to understand only the 3. But if one can understand 5, I would say these are the 5 folds feelings, because they can understand 5. That is the limitation of our brain. That's why we are gathering the knowledge. So one day when you meet up the Buddha, then Buddha explains all because you have developed, enhanced your knowledge up to the maximum level. This is what we are going to achieve. Okay, I'm not going to say something regarding the maximum level of knowledge. Another thing, very important thing is, all formations are impermanent. All conditioned things are impermanent. Have you heard this stanza? sabbe sankhara anicca. There is a very quite interesting point that we have to discard here. What is that? I will write down. The first line is sabbe sankhara anicca. Second, sabbe sankhara dukkha. What is the third? Anatta or ananta? Anatta. Ananta is another meaning. The important fact here to discuss, sankhara anicca, sankhara dukkha. Why when comes to the anatta, not sankhara? It is dhamma. I'm asking why. Why it does not mention sabbe sankhara anatta? It is wrong. But dhamma is the anatta, sankhara, anicca and dukkha. What is the reason? With regard to our knowledge, it must be sabbe sankhara anicca, sabbe sankhara dukkha, sabbe sankhara anatta. But that is wrong. But ultimately, it is mentioned sabbe dhamma anatta. What is the sankhara? Formations, conditioned. All conditioned things are impermanent. All are the conditioned. They are based on the impermanence, based on the suffering, dukkha. What is Dhamma here? It is Buddha Dharma? Dhamma has different meanings. There is a book called Dhamma only. It gives what are the different meanings of the Dhamma. So what is everything here as Dhamma? So remember, keep in your mind, here Dhamma means conditioned and all unconditioned. For example, you say everything is anicca, except what? Except Nibbana. Except Nibbana. Everything is dukkha except Nibbana. Everything is anatta with conditioned and the unconditioned. Here is everything, that means the conditioned and the unconditioned, even including of the Nibbana. That is on non-self, cannot take as I, my and myself. Nibbana also cannot be taken as I, my and myself. So that is the important fact that you have to keep in your mind. Here, sankhara based on anicca and dukkha, but anatta based on dhamma, because conditioned and the unconditional all phenomena in the world. Conditioned and the unconditional phenomena all are included into the dhamma. That means that dhamma indicates not the Buddha Dhamma or nature or whatever it is, that is the conditioned and the unconditioned phenomena. Is it clear? Okay, that's good. I will explain briefly again for your understanding. Okay, if you have any issues, please let me know. That is good, because sometimes we feel that I know, but later on I feel no. Then how can we solve that? This is the place where you have to solve all sort of Dhamma problems. But time is limited. So Here, sabbe sankhara, sankhara means the conditioned phenomena. All phenomena, they are materials, conditioned, made by. They are based on impermanence. They are not last. Each and every moment they cause to change. That is called the anicca. No permanent entities in the world, because everything is based on anicca. Whatever is anicca, that is dukkha or suffering. That means anicca and dukkha are interrelated. Whatever is anicca, it causes to the dukkha because it is also a condition made by something. Sometimes for elements, Maha Bhuta Rupa, they are made by the elements. So therefore they are conditioned. But something in the world, they are not considered, the conditioned. They are not based on the material things. They are not considered as the phenomena. Because they are unconditioned. They are not made by anyone in the world. They keep as it is only. So they are called the Dhamma here. Because they are unconditioned. They are not made by someone. They keep as it is. That indicates Dhamma here. That Dhamma based on anatta. Anatta means not self or non-self. Non-self. That is something else. This is cannot be taken as I, my and myself. Even the Nibbana. If I say that Nibbana or liberation or emancipation, whatever it is, the even Nibbana cannot be taken as I, my and myself, even though it is unconditioned phenomena. Because somebody thinks that Nibbana is the place where we have to touch one day. That's why they take as my Nibbana. They attach to the Nibbana. In this level, he does not attach to the Nibbana because that is unconditioned. Both conditioned and the unconditioned are non-self.
Have we already answered the why?
Yes, because anatta, anicca and dukkha based on condition. Dhamma is based on condition and the unconditioned.
So why is anatta include condition and also unconditioned?
Because so they are causes, they exist. They exist. Some of them are visible and some of them are invisible. So anicca and dukkha. But this is invisible phenomena. Dhamma, Nibbana, they are invisible. Yeah, cannot. Just we have to realize throughout our senses or the faculties, throughout the objects. That's why Nibbana is invisible. We cannot see, but we can see how? We can see throughout our mind. That is the place where we have to understand in the maximum level, not in the ordinary level.
Okay, so to summarize it, it is for anicca and dukkha, it is relatively understandable, easy to understand. But then when it comes to anatta, I think comparatively it is tougher to understand compared to anicca and dukkha. Because
that is profound.
Unconditioned.
Correct. Now understood, huh?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Let's go to the, because our time is so limited today. That's why I not only I have to discuss the impermanent, but also the detachment. One day we have to leave everything. That means the practice of the Detachment. We have to detach. The impermanence based on the three existence, as you know. Tilakkana. Dukkha, unsatisfactoriness, anatta, non-self, reveals that whatever arises dependently undergoes arising uppada titi bhanga. Whatever we arise here, there are two folds or the parts in the world. All the conditioned things have three parts, uppada titi bhanga. What is uppada? Arising, titi, brief, persistence, and finally dissolution. But in the early Buddhism, it discusses on uppado panyayati, vayo panyayati, titassa anyatattam panyayati. That is something different, the terms used in the early Buddhism, but later on it was so popular as uppada titi bhanga. Whatever we take as I, my and myself or whatever it is exists in the world, they are the way of uppada titi bhanga. We see arise something and also it the brief persistence, then finally is dissolute. This is the way of life. Even the human being. That is common to all the elements. All elements. So no other the alternative ways to understand of the existence or the conditioned things. This is the main the phenomena that we have to understand throughout the Uppada Tritibhanga. This is so quite famous. Then what is the definition of the anicca? Yanginchi dhammang uppajjamanang uppajjati tittantan tittati vayang gacchati ayang uccati aniccang. What is anicca? Whatever phenomenon arises, it arises. When we consider the whole phenomena, they arise, it arises. Abiding, tittantan tittati. Abiding, it abides. Passing, it passes away. This is called the impermanent. Arises, abides, and passes away. This is called the impermanence of the world. This is what we have to understand. What is the world in Buddhism? Is it universe or planet? Like live in the aliens? What is the world in Buddhism? It is quite interesting. Buddhism says that imasming eva bhyamamatte kalebare lokancha panyapemi. What is that? Yeah, that means in this fathom-long body, I proclaim the world. Then what is our world? Our body. Our body is the world. Lokancha panyapemi. Loka samudayancha panyapemi. Arising of the world within us. Loka nirodhancha panyapemi. Cesses of the body. Loka nirodhagamini patipadancha panyapemi. This is the path to liberation. So that means everything is within us. But world is within us, but we are looking for another worlds. We are going to search for another worlds. But world is within us. We have to search for our world. This is our universe. That's what we have to understand as well. That is quite interesting. Anyone who wishes to investigate on body, that is the Nibbana. That means investigation on the aggregates, Panchakanda. That's what we are doing here. So that is quite interesting. In first, we have to understand etymologically what is the impermanent, what is anicca. Whatever arises here, it abides and the passing away. That is called the impermanent, anicca. Everything does not exist a last. Does not exist a last. That is called the impermanent or anicca. Is it clear? Okay. Another definition, if I say that anicca, what is the indication of the indicates not. Nicca, constant. Anicca, that means not constant. In brief, if one asks that, what is the impermanence or anicca? What would be the brief response of that? Not constant. Not constant. Whatever it is, even though this is hard, it is not constant. You suppose that the mountain of Meru one day would be destroyed. How about the ocean? Ocean would be destroyed. How about the earth? Earth would be destroyed. They are the gigantic things in the world, but they cause to change. They cause to vanish. What is that? That is the impermanent. How about the human being? We are so small. When we compare with the other gigantic things in the world, we are so small, we are caused to change. We are not constant. So another word, abhava. Instead of anicca, we can use up the abhava. That means non-existence after being. Abhava, change, non-existence. Udaya bhaya, arising and passing. Udaya vaya. Udaya means arising. Vaya means passing. Arising and passing. Udaya vaya. For example, in Buddhism, like birth consciousness and the death consciousness. What is Udaya? Birth consciousness. What is death consciousness? That is the Vaya. That is the end of our life. When we generate the death consciousness, we say, he left. Now we have to put in the coffin with the blessings. So this is the way of Vaya, passing away. This is the way. Then Tavakalika, that means the temporary. We are in the temporary world. It's eternal? No, this is not eternal. Then what is the death? Death is eternal? Is it eternal? No, there is a new beginning. There is new beginning. Because death is not considered as the eternal phenomena, eternal. It's a new beginning. That means we are in a temporary shelter in the world. Is it? Yes. That's what we have to understand. Why we make jealous, or why we make quarrels, why we disappointed, because we are in the temporary world. We are living in a few years when we compare with the other the beings who are living long period in the world. Then why we are making jealous, or why we making problems? Because our life is short, isn't it? That's what we have to understand. Then why we are crying, why we are weeping, why we are lamentating, always thinking of unnecessary things. But remember, our life is so short. Then no time to smile because this is time to die. The next birth you have to smile. That's what we have to think. So this is the way of life. Then Nitya Patipakka. What is the Nitya Patipakka? Nitya Patipakka means the opposite of the permanence. Opposite of the permanent. That means the impermanent. In other words, that is the impermanent. Opposite of permanence. So that means we can understand the impermanence throughout some terms. What are the terms are reflected here? Anicca, Abhava, Udayabhaya, Tavakalika and Nitya Patipakka. Nitya Patipakka. All these terms indicate the way of impermanence. Is it clear? Okay, let's go to the next slide. Impermanence applies to Sankhara within the Panchakanda. That is called the Panchakanda meditation. Aggregate the meditation based on the 5 aggregates. That's why we found the Sankittena Panchupadanakkhandha Dukkha in the concept of Dukkha in Buddhism. With regard to the Four Noble Truths. In the first Dukkha, the list of Dukkha given, in the end of that, one phrase is there that is called the Sankittena in brief or briefly. Briefly, Sankittena. Panchupadanakkhandha Dukkha, 5 aggregates are suffering. Then what is that? That is the Vipassana meditation. That is the Vipassana meditation. In the Vipassana meditation, we contemplate on Anicca Dukkha Anatta. Have you practiced the Vipassana? Then you must have a good knowledge on that. Not the substantial knowledge. That knowledge is called the empirical knowledge. We must be empiricists. That's the based on empiricism. That is the knowledge that we have to grasp one day. That means, when we develop our faculties and the senses, we can gain the knowledge. That is called the empirical knowledge. Not the substantial knowledge. So that empirical knowledge can be developed up to the maximum level. That is called the Nibbana one day. That's what we are going to achieve. Soon or later. Is it soon or later? Do you postpone it? No time to postpone, life is short. So that means gross manifestations, physical decay, and the sukuma, subtle manifestation. We are going to discuss the sukuma and the olarika later on, the 2 types of anicca with regard to the Buddhism. That's why we can see the physical decay. How we see the mental decay? Mental decay? From birth to death, we find out the decaying of our physical body. But mentally, increasing or decreasing, we cannot see that. It is invisible. Development of the qualities. Who can measure the mental development? That is impermanent. That is impossible. For example, how do you understand the person who got the Sotapanno Sakadagami? Who can recognize the Arahants? Cannot. Why cannot? No any physical appearances. No physical appearances. Then what is Arahantship? If you cannot see the physically, then what is that? How we recognize the Arahants? Cannot recognize. Cannot. Because physically there is no any symbols. No any notices, I am Arahant like that. There is no logo. Yeah, no badge. Indicating that I am Arahant. The thing is, they do not show that. Why they show that? If one shows something, that means he needs to receive something. They are nothing to receive from the community. This is one. And also, the another important fact is, the development of mind is invisible. Development of mind, it is invisible. Cannot see. Then how we imagine? We can imagine when we hear something from them, and also when we associate with them. So then we know, he would be like that. We can imagine. Otherwise they may not say. Energy level is difference. When we compare with the ordinary people, energy level. And also the commentators mention that once after achieving the Nibbana, their physical appearance also difference. Physical appearance. They are so pleasurable. They are so beautiful and handsome. Don't feel that I am beautiful, that I would be the Arahant like that. Because their physical appearance would be changed because they have the developed mind. Throughout that, their physical body also change. That is your opinion. Who can accept your belief? No, don't reject if you don't know exactly. Give me the sources. Why do you reject? No, give me the sources, not your own words. Huh? Is it a primary sources? No. That is, you are totally wrong. No, it must be because if you have the developed mind, you can change. You can change. For example, if your mind is sick, body also sick. Body and mind are interrelated. For example, if you have any problems in your mind, then physically, definitely you are sick. It would be a disaster, mental disorder. That is called a somatoform disorder. Have you heard that somatoform disorder? Better you don't heard. There are some Jataka stories also explains the somatoform disorder. When you you have the Dr. Asoka, he is a psychiatric doctor, psychologist. So psychologists explain what is the somatoform disorder. That means if you think something constantly, bad things or frustration or something like that, your body would be collapsed. Collapse. For example, what happened to the person who did the murder? Murder. They collapse their body expressions also. That is called the somatoform disorder. It is a disorder. It's a disorder. So therefore, Buddhism believes that mind and body are interrelated. If we have the developed mind, strong mind, then your physical appearance also would be changed. This is happened in the position of the arahantship. That's what I explained with regard to Buddhism and the psychology. So one day you can experience once after you achieve the Nibbana or arahantship. Otherwise you cannot experience that. One day when you experience, it would be okay. Okay, let's go to the another one. Which suttas give the clearest definition of anicca? What are the suttas? In the contextual studies, it is very significant to know what are the suttas which are relevant to this concept. Then you can develop your knowledge regarding this. So, Anicca Lakkana Sutta, Rupam Bhikkave Aniccang. So that means that indicate impermanence across all five aggregates. Rupang Aniccang, Vedana Anicca, Sanya Anicca, Sankara Anicca, Viññānaṃ Aniccang. So that means the five aggregates are impermanent. So it indicates in the Anicca Lakkana Sutta. Then Anatta Lakkana Sutta, Yankinchi Rupang Atitampi Anagatampi Paccupannampi Aniccangva Niccangva is whatever form, past, future or present, permanent or impermanent. Whatever our form, past form, or present form or the future form, is it permanent or impermanent? Answer is impermanent. They do not exist or last. That's what we have to understand. So that reflects in the Anatta Lakkana Sutta. Again, Girimananda Sutta. Have you heard the name of Girimananda? Yeah, that is in Book of Protection, Chatubhanavara Pali. That defines Anicca Sanya. So conceptually and meditatively, perceiving all formations as impermanent, like meatless bones, urine, feces to be discarded. Everything would be discarded with regard to Girimananda. List of the what you call the sicknesses are reflected in the Girimananda Sutta. So there are many things that we have to discuss regarding the Girimananda Sutta. Another one is Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta. It discusses the doctrinal foundations and impermanence underpins the first noble truth explained in the clinging to flux, anicca, breeds dukkha. How the anicca causes to the dukkha. So that's what we found in the Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta. Then Sallata Sutta illustrates the existential impact of the impermanence through a simile. The physical pain, unavoidable, the second narrow emotional suffering arises for the resisting anicca, the wise knowledge flux without attachment. So the wise and the crazy or foolish understand what is the way of this existence of the world. when we stuck the arrow, when we stuck the arrow, how it would be painful. Then what we have to do for the eradication of that pain? So these are the things that we can discuss in the Sallata Sutta in Sangyutta Nikaya. Let's see some terms in the Buddhism. Some terms in Pali or in the English. Aniccanupassana, contemplation of impermanence. So, while you are practicing the vipassana meditation, you would find the aniccanupassana. You have to contemplate on impermanence. That is anupassana. What is the meaning of anupassana? Contemplation. Contemplation. Aniccanupassana, that means the anicca anupassana. Anicca means impermanence, anupassana means the contemplation. That means the contemplation of impermanence. While we are practicing vipassana meditation, we have to contemplate on impermanence. That is called the aniccanupassana. One day you have to practice this. One day you have to practice. So still you are in the samatha, the next level would be the vipassana. In samatha what you can do? In the samatha? Throughout the 40 objects, what you can do in samatha? Develop the mind. Develop the mind. That is called a chitta bhavana. Mind development. Samatha. Then what is vipassana? What we can develop throughout the vipassana? Wisdom, correct. Wisdom. Therefore it is called the panya bhavana. Panya bhavana, wisdom. We can develop our wisdom throughout the vipassana. That means we are contemplating on the root causes of the defilements. Root causes. But in the mind development, we are not going to eradicate the root causes of the defilements. First we develop our mind, then finally go to the empirical knowledge. That means in that level, there are no more as defilements. Everything is discarded. Is it clear? For clear, you have to meditate. Not to listen, but to practice. So that's what we have to do. Then anicca sanya. What is the sanya? Sanya is the perception. Sanya is the perception. What can understand throughout the sanya? Our all memories are inserted in the sanya. Because that is the third step. Rupa Vedana Sanya. So in that level, we identify what are the old memories in our mind. There are some, the old memories, they are included in the mind. So that is called the sanya, that is the perception. Perception is a knowledge. How we gain that knowledge? Throughout the senses. Throughout the senses. But the problem is, the philosopher, what you call Venerable Dharmakirti, who is a great philosopher in the Mahayana Buddhism. So he says that even though we say that perception is a knowledge, depends upon the senses, that knowledge would be not sufficient to understand everything in the world. There is something pretended to be. For example, while you are going by train, have you experienced going by train? Everybody? While you are going by train, what you feel? So all houses, where the trees, everyone, everything is coming with us. Follow us. Yeah, when we passes, they also follow us. We feel like that. What is that? What is the problem? Actually, they are as it is. The houses and the trees do not follow us. The problem is, while we are going fast, we cannot catch up that object. Thing is, we cannot catch that object because we are going fast. Therefore, that is not a good knowledge. That is not a good knowledge. For example, another example it is given, when we see something in the dark, sometimes that object cannot be understood soon. Sometimes we feel that in the dark when we see something, it would be a ghost. Maybe it must be a spirit. We feel like that even in the dark. We cannot see them, but we see only the miracle. So only some pictures we imagine. We feel that it must be the spirit. Is it a correct knowledge? No, because when we see something in dark, we cannot see that object as it is. That means that knowledge is not sufficient to understand everything in the world. That is the incorrectness of the perception knowledge. That means the knowledge of perception is not the highest level of perception with regard to the philosophy. So that's what we have to understand throughout the perception of the impermanence. That is not simple, but even though quite hard, that is the thing that we have to understand one day. Then anicca lakkana, characteristic of impermanence. Anicca lakkana. What do you study in the Lakkana Sutta? I mean the Tilakkana. In the Tilakkana, what do you study? That is the quite interesting point that we have to discuss here as Lakkana. What is Lakkana? In English? Characteristic. That is characteristic. What is Tilakkana? 3 characteristics. Then here it is called the anicca lakkana. What is the anicca lakkana? Characteristic of impermanence. Characteristic of impermanence. Then the thing is, there are 2 characteristics in the world. 2 characteristics. In every exist phenomena have the 2 characteristics. One is own characteristic, second one is common characteristics. Own characteristic and the common characteristics. How we identify the own and the common in one place? For example, if I say that elements, this is the good place to understand throughout the elements. Bhuta Rupa. What is the first element? Earth, Patavi. Patavi Dhatu. Earth element. then this earth element has two characteristics. What is the own characteristic of the earth? Hardness. Hardness is the own characteristic of the earth element. In Pali it is called the kakkalattang. Kakkala, hard. We say karkasha. There's a hard. In Sanskrit that is karkasha. The hardness is the own characteristic of the earth element. What is the common? Even though it is hard, it causes to impermanence, suffering and non-self. That means the common characteristic is the tilakkana. Likewise, every elements have the own and the common characteristics. So even though earth is hard, it does not exist at last. It causes to impermanence. Whatever is impermanent, that is suffering. Whatever is suffering, that is non-self. Then what we study throughout the Tilakkana now, without contemplating on the, what you call the own characteristics, we study only the three characteristics. That means the common only we study. When we compare with the human being, who you are? Who you are? How do you interact with others? I'm like that, I'm a donor, I'm practicing like this. We explain many own characteristics. That is we. Always we explain that we do not have. We try to recognize like that. We have to make them recognize. We say, I did like this, I did like this, I am like this, I am like this. So the several things we say, that is the own characteristic of all the characters. Even though that is true or lie. Many times we say lies when we recognize. But that is the own. What is the common? There are some common terms for all human beings. That is the common. Likewise, we recognize something throughout the own character and the common character. This is how we have to understand. Therefore, the anicca lakkana is very important. We have to know the characteristics of the all the existent things in the world. But remember, our time is limited. Then, anicca niccang. Repeated refrain defining anicca emphatically as anicca niccang across the aggregates. Aniccata. Anicca Sanya Sutta uses aniccata explicitly in relation to the perception of impermanence. So these are the terms that are reflect in the Sutta Pitaka, the way how we understand the impermanence. The way. That is something in the world that we have to understand throughout these terms. That is the etymological way to understand contextually. Okay, let's see some phrases. Sabbe Sankara Anicca. We saw in first. Sabbe Sankara Anicca. What the meaning of the Sabbe Sankara Anicca? All conditioned things are impermanent. That's the anicca is there. Rupang aniccang. Form is impermanent. In many suttas, Buddha proclaims that form is impermanent. Rupang aniccang. Anicca-vata sankhara. Have you heard this term? Where? In the great services, in the funeral, in the night visits. So anicca-vata sankhara, impermanent indeed are formations. Yadaniccan tan dukkhang. That which is impermanent is suffering. Whatever it is, whatever is impermanent, that is suffering. That is also the term anicca is there. Anicca aniccang rupang. Form is impermanent, impermanent. Repeatedly say. Anicca aniccang, anicca aniccang. That means emphatically say that this is impermanent. When we say, okay, okay, then what is the meaning? That is very sure. But sometimes two terms become negative. Positive two things become negative. Oh, the two negative terms become positive. For example, I never not come. If I say that I never not come, that means definitely I will come. Never not. Two negative forms become positive. So even in the Pali, the term na, two na indicates positive. So that is the way of language. I am not going to discuss with you the linguistical aspects of the terms. Aniccanupassanaya sankhara, by contemplation of impermanence formation. Passanto aniccang na paritassati, seeing impermanence not troubled. It is not troubled. Because one day we have to experience, this is the way of impermanence. One day, not today. Today it's okay, but one day we can experience, this is the way of impermanence. So there are some phrases in the Buddhism to indicate the way of impermanence. Okay. This is also one such important place where we can find out how impermanence is reflected in the Buddhism. Sabbe sankhara anicchati yada panyaya passati atha nibbindati dukke esa maggo visuddhiya. This is the path to purity. What is the purity here? What is the purity? No, purity is the Nibbana. Nibbana, emancipation or liberation. This is the final goal of the Buddhists. That is called the purity. Have you read the Visuddhi Magga? Or short, That's enough. The Visuddhi Magga is considered as the commentary type of text in Buddhism. It's a commentary type of text. Visuddhi Magga, path of purification. What are the paths to achieve the Nibbana? There are 7 paths are reflected. 7 paths to achieve the Nibbana. Sabbe sankhara anicchati. All conditioned things are impermanent. That's what we discuss. Yada panyaya passati. When one sees this with wisdom, that means only the wise people understand this phenomena. Only the wise people, not the foolish. Who you are? Why so foolish? But in Buddhism, there is a one famous term, sabbe putujjana ummattaka. Every ordinary people are crazy, mad. Ordinary people, ordinary people. That means we are. Yeah. That means in percentage. That's the way of defilements. Okay, as wise, we have to understand these phenomena. We have to see that. We have to contemplate on that. This is what the way of wisdom. Ata nibbindati dukke. If sees this through his wisdom, what he has to do, then he become disenchanted with suffering. He frustrate on suffering. What is the way of this suffering? What is the purpose of this suffering? Why we are grasping this suffering as well? Then he sees throughout his wisdom. This is the way of suffering. We have to disenchanted. This is what we have to think as wise. This is the path to purity. This is the kind of path to achieve the Nibbana. So the first thing is, we have to understand the anicca as well. Then if we go through this way, then your path would be so cleared. That's what we have to think. Sapta Visuddhi. Yeah, this is very... It is not quite easy to understand and also not quite easy to read out within limited time you must take. Yeah. Better you read out the Visuddhi Magga. It is an outstanding book. Aniccavata sankara uppada vaidammino uppajjitva nirujjanti te sangvopa samosukho. The calmness is blissful. Pupa samosukho. Their calmness is blissful. What type of calmness? What is that we have to understand throughout this way? Aniccavata sankhara, impermanent, indeed are formations. Sankhara, every condition things are impermanent. That's what we have to understand. Uppada vaya dhammino, they are subject to arising and passing away. So the way of all conditioned things are caused to arise and pass away. Arising and passing away. Uppada vaya. Well, what is the Dhamma here, Dhammino? Here Dhamma means subject to. Subject to arising and passing away. Uppajjitva nirujjanti. Having arisen, they cease. Uppajjitva. Having arisen, they cease gradually. This is what we have to understand. If one can understand these phenomena, these terms, their calmness is so blissful. Tesang vupa samosukho. One day if we can eradicate such type of things, this would be the blissful. This is what we have to do one day. Okay. Some canonical foundations are here regarding the impermanence. In the Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta, it is linked to the Four Noble Truths as we saw on Tuesday. So form is impermanent, feeling is impermanent, perception is impermanent, formations are impermanent, and the consciousness, vijnana. Rupang anicchang, vedana anicca, something like that. In the Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta, you may find out what are the formations are reflected there. So if we go to the commentary types, that means the depth of the commentaries, Buddha goes in the Visuddhimagga, elaborates anicca as momentary flux, kanikatta. It's a momentary flux, distinguishing gross, olaric, bodily decay. I will discuss later on these two types of the anicca. Then Attasalini. Attasalini is the commentary of the Dhammasangani. What is Dhammasangani? That is the first text of the Abhidhamma Pitaka. Have you read the Abhidhamma? Not yet? The all philosophical aspects are inserted in the Abhidhamma. If one wants to know the exact way of mind and thoughts, mana and chetasika, chitta or chetasika, mind and thoughts, you may read out the Dhammasangani Pakarana. So there are so many the philosophical disputes in the Buddhism. So you may read out the Abhidhamma Pitaka for the resolution of them. So that is the way of Abhidhamma Pitaka. So it's the Attasalini is the commentary of the Dhammasangani. It says, this is not lasting. This is not lasting. That means impermanence is the phenomena that is not lasting in the world. How we practice this? The important thing is how we practice. In the Vipassana meditation, we practice it. That is the way of Vipassana. We have to practice daily, not annually. Not annually. Daily we have to practice. Then Vipassana meditation discerns anicca directly, contemplating aggregates, reveals instability. No stable. Five aggregates are not stable. Cause to change. So that is disenchantment, detachment and the path fusion. That is the way of Vipassana meditation considered in the practical way. One day you can practice. And also in the Anupassana, that means the contemplation of the way of phenomena, that is called the Anupassana. Repeatedly observes the phenomena through the lens of the three characteristics. So we have to practice impermanence throughout the three characteristics with regard to Anupassana. One day you may practice when you practice the Vipassana meditation, definitely you have to practice impermanence throughout the Anicca Dukkha Anatta. That means the Tilakkhana. Is it quite simple? Is it quite simple? No, that is not quite simple. Just when we hear, it would be simple. But when we practice, in the practical way, that is not quite simple. Then Anapanasati, Chittanupassana, contemplation of the mind. How it integrates? Lead into liberation. When we practice the Anapanasati, inhale or exhale, or the breathe in or breathe out, we have to practice contemplating the mind. We have to contemplate the mind. So this is what we have to do while we are inhaling and exhaling. So this is what we have to do. Okay. In Visuddhimagga and the Arthasalini is distinguished actually two kinds of anicca impermanence, that is the Olarika anicca and the Sukuma anicca. Gross impermanence and the subtle impermanent. Olarika anicca and the Sukuma anicca. What are those? What is Olarika anicca? That is visible, change over the time, such as our decaying of the body, that is Olarika anicca. It can be seen no visible object. You suppose how you were in the child as a baby girl or the baby boy. Now who you are? Change everything. Now you are not supposed to be the baby girl or the baby boy, even though you wish to do. But this is the decaying, that is the aging. That is the aging. That is the Olarika, that is visible. Sukuma, that is a subtle, momentary flux that cannot be understood. It is not visible. How we change our thoughts moment. Our thoughts. How many thoughts come to our mind within this limited time? Is it visible? Physically, your appearance here. Then where is your mind? Is it clear? Your mind also within us? No, always reach into the objects. Always going here and there while listening. I am sure that you are listening, but your mind is not here. This is the way. You are physically okay. How about mentally? So that is the way. So mental disappeared. So that is the way. But can I see your mental aspects? No, I can see only the physical appearance here. That is Olarika, Sukuma cannot be visible. Sukuma can, because you are the moment of the thought. I can't see that. Because I do not have such the knowledge to see. Like Dibba Chakku, Dibba Sota, like that. I'm an ordinary one, that's why I can't see. The thing is, Sukuma anicca can be seen, that is visible, that is invisible, Olarika anicca visible. Is it clear? Physical and mental. Physically, it is visible, that is called the Olarika anicca. Sukuma, that is so subtle, moment to moment, each and every moment it would be changed. Can't see that. Can't see. So that is the way of Sukuma anicca. Okay, then I go to the next my subtopic, that is the detachment within 45 minutes. Why you are looking at the clock? Yeah, that means too much. 45 means too much. So, okay, let's try to do concisely and precisely. Yeah? So within limited time, detachment. This is another aspect. It's supposed to be a good aspect that we have to know, and also one day we have to experience. What we are experience here, anicca or detachment. Impermanence or detachment? What your experience here?
Both.
Mostly?
No.
I suppose that you are practicing detachment here. Detachment. Because you left your house. You left your property. You left your family, beloved family. You left everything. That is the way of detachment.
But Bhante, that's only physical.
Why? Oh. So that is the problem. You have to live mentally. That is the great detachment that would be grasped. So what we are going to practice is to detach mentally. That's what we have to do. So practically it would be okay when time passes. When time passes. So that is the way of monkhood. We do not have bond or relationship with the families. No siblings, no relatives, no devotees, no properties, nothing. The monkhood is a nothingness. That is the nothingness, not the nothingless. That is the way of nothingness. That is the detachment. Okay. The detachment is the great aspect that we are going to discuss in the Theravada Buddhism. It is precisely termed as viraga. Viraga, dispassion or fading of lust. Fading of the passion. Lust, passion. In the profound mental liberation from craving. That is the important term. The profound mental liberation from craving. Still we have craving on what? Craving on food. That is also one such. Everything. Everything what we need, we have craving. Everything. Throughout our faculties and the senses, whatever we grasp, that is the depend on our craving. That is called the tanha. One day we are going to eradicate this craving. For that purpose, we are practicing the detachment. Profound mental liberation. That is the most difficult task to practice for the ordinary people. Mental liberation. You have to free from every sort of things in the world. That is called the mental liberation. Another thing is the clinging, upadana. We are clinging. If there is no clinging, that is the detachment. Upadana. Detachment is called the anupadana. Upadana, anupadana. Upadana means clinging, anupadana means detached, non-clinging. All impermanent phenomena cultivated through vipassana insight into the three marks. How we practice the detachment, we can do throughout the three characteristics again. So this is what we have to know. So this is what we are going to practice. How practically develop the detachment, then we come to the mental liberation from craving as well. This is what we want to do. Viraga, that is called the detachment, direct realization of sabbe sankhara anicca. All formations are impermanent. Sparking nibbida, disenchantment that serves attachment without aversion, patiga. Allowing compassion, karuna and the ethical engagement to flourish unbound by the sansaric compulsions. This is what we are going to do throughout the viraga or detachment. How we manifest that? There are key concepts to identify the detachment. We need viveka, seclusion. If we are busy, what happens? Can't even think how we free from such things. So, and kaya viveka, we need the seclusion of body. Body and mind, mental, chitta viveka. Always if we think that we are so busy, we are so boring, we are so hectic. Many people are hectic. Then as a result of that hectic the perspectives, definitely they have mental disorders. We need the seclusion. That's what we are searching for. Then nekkhamma, renunciation of sensual pleasures. They are the key concepts in the Buddhism. Key concept. We need seclusion and the bodily seclusion and the mental seclusion, and also freedom from aggregates, then the renunciation and the anupadana, non-clinging. They are the key concepts in the Buddhism. Then what you are going to practice from these lists? You are practicing renunciation today. You renounced from home to homelessness, even though temporary or few other days. That is the way of renunciation. We leave everything. So non-clinging, that is called the detachment. That is also a kind of key concept in the Buddhism. You think of those things. What are the key words for detachment? Key words for detachment, anupadana. Most appropriate word for what you call detachment is non-clinging or anupadana. Upadana, anupadana. Clinging, non-clinging. That is called the detachment. Viraga, dispassion of lust or passion. Viraga also another term for detachment. Viraga. Viveka, seclusion from three forms: kaya viveka, chitta viveka and upadi viveka. There are three viveka, they are depend on the detachment. Why Buddha said that rukka moola gatova, sunyagara gatova? Why Buddha said that? You have to go to the forest. You have to go to the empty house, sunyagara gata. You have to go to the empty house. You have to live under the tree. Why Buddha said that? That is the place where we can find out the seclusion. No attach to the trees or house, or that house is empty. No owners. No attach. So this is another one is nekkhamma. Another term for detachment is the nekkhamma, renunciation of sensual desires, giving up worldly attachment for the holy life, brahmacharya. Practicing of giving up. Practicing of giving up. So what you give up here? What you give up here? You gave up your household life. You gave up. Did you give up? Totally? Totally for 10 days? Yes, you gave up. That is the way. That means we have already renounced. Okay. Another one is non-greed, alobha. Non-greed. Do you have greedy on your properties in the house? Car, wealth, family, siblings, children? How good you are! That is the way that we are searching for. So that is the way of alobha, no greed, not greed. We have no greed on the anything, anyone in the world. That is the key word for detachment. The another two terms are not indicated, like adosa and amoha. Alobha, adosa, amoha. Lobha means greed. Alobha means non-greed. Greedy, hatred and delusion. Those are the root causes to eradicate one day, to achieve the Nibbana. Okay. So why we have to practice the detachment? To eradicate the craving. The main problem is the craving, tanha. Tanhakkayo nirodho. Nirodha means Nibbana, or emancipation, no liberation. That is what we are going to achieve. You are the one who practice how to eradicate the craving. Isn't it? Yeah, that's what we are going to do. And also clinging. Clinging. We are clinging to the body. That's why we have pancha upadana. If we do not clinging to the body, that is pancha khandha. For that purpose, we have to eradicate the whole sort of defilements. Then arahants have the pancha khandha. As ordinary people, we have pancha upadana khandha. Because we are clinging, upadana. That's what we have to do. So it begins with nekkhamma. Nekkhamma means renunciation, viveka, seclusion, physical withdrawal, kaya viveka, mental non-attachment, chitta viveka, ultimate freedom from aggregates, upadi viveka. Then finally, we counter the 5 hindrances, that is called the pancha nivarana. So we are gaining samatha and vipassana for that purpose. So this is what we are going to do here. So this is the path that we have to go on. How to practice the detachment. How did the Buddha practice detachment? That is the most important one. Buddha is an ideal character. We are following his character. So we have to know how Buddha practiced the detachment before his awakening, before understanding the world. That is called the radical renunciation. Can you imagine as a prince, who can renounce like this? As a prince, he had 3 palaces for 3 seasons. And he has many retinues. He is going to be a great monarch, Raja Chakravarti. Great monarch. He has a beautiful wife and a son. Who can renounce like this? Can someone imagine? No. But he did that. That is the radical renunciation. Nobody can do that. For what purpose? He wants to know the way of Satya and Kusala, truth and wholesome. This is what he was searching for. At the age of 29, he abandoned royal luxury, Kamabhoga, royal luxury, palace life, wife Yasodhara and newborn son Rahula, departing Kapilavattu at midnight, Agarasma Anagaryang Pabbaji. He went, go forth, home to homelessness. What is the homelessness? That is called the dispensation or the sasana. Sasana is called the homelessness. We don't have a home. We are not attached to the home. We have already renounced. That is called, it is the homelessness. So as Prince Siddhartha, he gone forth, home to homelessness. Now, that is the way of detachment of the Prince Siddhartha. Then how he practiced? He rejected the bodily seclusion, sensual clinging, kamupadana. He rejected sensual clinging. This is how he practiced the detachment, seeking truth beyond the worldly attachment. He was searching for the truth. King Satya Gavesi. King Satya Gavesi, what is truth in the world? He was searching for that. Then he studied the Alara Kalama Uddaka Ramaputta. He attained immaterial space, Arupa. He got the maximum level of the Arupa Jhana, practicing the Chitta Viveka, mental detachment for sense desire. Vivichakamehi. This is how he practiced to achieve his final goal. Then dissatisfied, he left. He did not satisfy with the teachings of the Alara Kalam and Uddaka Ramaputta. They are the teachers who taught him in the maximum level of the doctrinal disputes, but he does not satisfy. He left them. That is the detachment. What we think, they are the teachers who taught that, how can I leave them? As ordinary people, we try to live with them. But his intention was differ from each other. That's why he left. For 6 years, he embraced the extreme asceticism, dukkara karaka. That is called the self-torture. He was torturing himself to achieve his final goal. Asasa paramang, breath control, fast into skeleton thinness. Finally, there was no ascetic Siddhartha, only the skeleton was there. No flesh, all collapsed gradually. This is the way how he practiced to achieve this position. This is how he practiced the detachment. Then he left everything. He left everything. Even the teachers and also what they taught, everything he left. Even the Uruela Janapada. Janapada is called the country. That country also he left. The practicing of self-torture, he left everything. This is how he practiced the detachment. This is what. For 6 years, he practiced like this. For 6 years. Then, rejecting these as futile, Attakila Yoga, he accepted the Sujata's milk rice. Balancing detachment with the Bodhilikaya Majjhima Patipada. Then he thought that sensual pleasures and also the self-torture, both are extremes. Both are extremes. Pleasures and also the torturing. Both are extreme. Then he is going on the Majjhima Patipada, middle path. This is how he practiced the detachment. Do not cling into the objects as ordinary people. So he was culminating in Vipassana under the Bodhi tree, realizing the Nibbana. This is how he was searching for. We have to leave something to accept something. We have to leave something to obtain something. You have to leave the household life to obtain the monk life. So if there is no leaving, no achieving. Leaving and achieving are interrelated. Whatever we live, as a result of that, we achieve something. So it's like something like giving and receiving. We give something, we receive in return. So they are interrelated. So that is the way of realization of the Nibbana. Detachment in the Buddha's life. Post-enlightenment, that is the most important place where we can find out the post-enlightenment. Facing his attendants' death and the Mara's temptation, he remained unbound, avimutta. He remained unbound, teaching impermanence, anicca, without grief. Many people left him. Even the 5 ascetics. Who are the 5 ascetics? Kondanya, Vappa, Bhaddiya, Mahanama. How good you are. All are silence. So they are the 5 ascetics. Kondanya. Is it you? Finally, Kondanya becomes Anya Kondanya. After realization of the Dhamma, he is the first, he is the one who got that opportunity in first. That's why there is no other Kondanyas. This is the Anya Kondanya.
Oh, the special one.
He is special one, like you. So he was practicing the anicca without grief. There was no grief. Even though they left him, there is no grief. Because he has not attached to them. If we have attached, it would become grief. Despite detachment, he tirelessly taught for 45 years, unattached to fame or followers. For example, when we consider the great disciples, who are the great disciples of the Buddha? Venerable Sariputta, Arahant Sariputta, Moggallana, Maha Kassapa. So there are number of great disciples, 80 great disciples, 80. Asiti Mahasavaka. Mahasavaka means the great disciples. There were 80. Time to time they left him. Venerable Arahant Sariputta and the Moggallana passed away before the Buddha. What about the own son of Arahant Rahula? What happened to the Venerable Rahula? He also passed away before the Buddha, even though he was the son. So in the first Buddhist council, Venerable Rahula does not come. Venerable Mahakassapa does not select Venerable Rahula as a member of that committee in the 500 monks, great Arahants, because he has already passed away. So this is what we are. But Buddha does not have the grief. That is the way of detachment. Even his son passed away, no grief. That is the way of detachment. How he showed his gratitude, his power, mental power, like this. Okay, let's go another one. Parables. Buddha used to illustrate non-attachment. How we understand this Dhamma throughout the parables. Raft, Alagadupama Sutta mentions that a man built the raft to cross a river. A man built a raft to cross a river. Upon reaching the far shore, he discards it rather than the carrying it further. He discards it rather than carrying it further. Similarly, Dhamma is a tool for liberation. Once Nibbana is attained, abandon attachment even to the teaching themselves. Not to keep on the head. So that person think that okay, this was the thing that helped me to cross this shore. Then he was always carrying out. Is it the way that he has to do? No. Throw away it and go further. Carry on. Similarly, Buddha says that once after attaining the Nibbana, no need to attach to the Dhamma. No need. This is the one who supported me come to this Nibbana, something like that. There is no such attachment. That is the way of detachment. Afterwards, no more. No relationship. No relationship. After attaining Nibbana, we don't have any relationship. Don't even smile towards them. No attachment. Just see as it is. Nothing else. Herds and the hunter. There's another example given in the Nivapa Sutta of the Sanghutta Nikaya. Please write down only the name, then you can read out yourself. The type in the Google, you can read out the parable. So, 4 deer herds graze on the hunter's baited field. 2 cling to the pleasure, kama upadana. 1 reject all enjoyment, atta kilamatanu yoga, and 1 practices the middle way. Only the balanced herd survives. So balanced herd can survive on going on the middle way. If we go to the extremes, we are not survive. Or sensual pleasure or self-torture. If we go in those the extremes, definitely we are caused to change. So that's what illustrating detachment from sensual craving and ascetic denial. So this is what we have to understand throughout the parables. How we understand the way of detachment. Kisa Gotami, everybody knows that. The story of Kisa Gotami. But the name of Gotami is okay. Mahaprajapati Gotami also there. What is the Kisa? What is the meaning of Kisa? So there are some things that can be understood throughout these terms, like Chinchamanavika. Have you heard the Chinchamanavika? Oh, Chincha, yeah. Yeah, you know that. She is the one who came to the Buddha to make some problems. Pretended to be pregnant. Buddha is my husband, like that. He was asking for the property. So she is the Chinchamanavika. What is the Chincha? Manavika is the term who indicate the woman, Manavika. What is the Chincha Manavika? Chincha? Chincha is Pali. Simply we translate as tamarind. Tamarind? See here, tamarind? You don't know tamarind? Yeah, tamarind, the bitter one. In Thailand, we have tamarind sweet one. Sweet tamarind. But here we have bitter one. Sour. Yeah, I think in the Brickfield temple also we have tamarind tree. That is called the Chincha. That means the Manavika who sells the tamarind in the market. She is the Chincha Manavika. Like Kisa Gotami. What is the meaning of Kisa? Skinny one. Skinny one. She's so skinny, so thin. Not fat like you. So skinny. That is called the Kisa. Her name is Gotami. Since is skinny, people said Kisa Gotami. Skinny Gotami. Yeah. Gotami loses a child. And Buddha asked for the mustard seed from a grief-free home. Grief-free home. Grief-free home. You go and ask for the seed from a grief-free home. So finding none. Everybody has grief. Everybody has some problems in their home. Everybody had the funerals. They saw how people are dying in that home. Therefore, grief is available, existent, take place. That's why finally she understood, this is the way of the detachment. One day, even though I am taking grief because of my own son, this is the way of life. One day I have to detach from my the favorable, the siblings or the families. So this is how the Buddha practiced the detachment throughout the parables. So what are the Jataka tales which are reflected to practice the detachment? The Vesantara Jataka, that is a good story. Prince Vesantara gives away his kingdom. He gives away, he leaves his kingdom. Elephant. What type of elephant? White elephant. White elephant. Not in the English term of white elephant. So that is a real elephant. White elephant is so rare. Everybody does not have such the rare elephants. Wise Madhi or Mandri, and children to beggars, unmoved by please or lose. Yeah, he gave up everything. even his children. So once after achieving Nibbana, as a Buddha, one day he says that everything I gave up with pleasurable mind except giving up my children. That means one of the difficult giving up is the giving up of the children. It is not easy. It is not quite easy. That is the attachment between parents and the children. That's what we have to understand. That is the great bond between children and the parents. Vesantara Jataka, reminding of the Vesantara Jataka, Buddha reminds that this is the one of the difficult tasks to do as a father. As a father. It is not easy task anyway. It does not understand usually the people who are single. Single mother or single father. No, they are single. Not married people do not understand that. But Buddha says that as a father, it is the difficult task. It's a difficult task. No, actually, easily can gain the accept the wife again, but no children. That is a great bond than the wife. I don't know. You think yourself. I am talking about the words of the Buddha only. They are not my own opinions.
So everybody is different.
Different thinkings. But the problem is those different thinkings one day come to one ocean. The same ocean. Then that is nothing in that differences.
Thank you, Bhante.
That is the way. So we must have the different opinions. That is true. Different opinions. That is our ownness. If you have same opinions, what is the difference between you and you, among you? There must be different opinions. So finally, we would be able to come to the one place to eradicate the all doubts and the disputes. That is the free from everything. That is the Nibbana. Then under Maha Janaka Jataka, this is also worldly depletion, promoting instant renunciation. He departs his palace without regret. The important thing is he departs his palace without regret. No regression to leave his palace as a king. So this is one such. Then Kunala Jataka. Kunala Jataka. The blind prince Kunala endures torture without hatred, adosa, forgiving his tormentors, embodying mental detachment, chitta from fame and revenge. We do not gain any pain and revenge, because if we practice the detachment, why we prostrate, why we remorse, why we revenge, because of that attachment. If we do not attachment, there is no regression. No regression. So somebody scold you, you get regret. Why? Because he is the one who loves. But you suppose that someone, we don't know him, that is scolding we do not consider. Just hear, no reactions, no grief, just hurt. No revenge, because we don't know where he is. So that is the way. Everything is depend on the attachment. attachment. How to cultivate the detachment in the Theravada Buddhism? How to cultivate? Through the Anicca Dukkha Anatta, through the Four Noble Truths, through the Vipassana meditation, we can practice the detachment. First we have to understand the way of anicca. Everything does not exist at last. Then why we make attach? Why we make attachment? That's what we have to think. So there is no such things to think more and more often. First one is Satipatthana. In the cultivation of the detachment, we can follow up the Satipatthana. Kaya-anupassana, Vedana-anupassana, Chitta-anupassana and the Dhamma-anupassana, generating the Nibbida, disenchantment, non-clinging. When we contemplate on the body, feeling, mind and the fundamental teachings, there is no attachment. This is the way of practicing of detachment. This is one such. Non-clinging. Whatever we contemplate, you see, one day, even though we are preserving our body here, it would be a ash one day. This is the way of life. So when we are in this planet, we have pleasurable feelings, unpleasurable feelings, and the neuter feelings. This is what we have to understand. So everywhere we cannot grasp the happiness. This is what we have to understand. So how we restrain our mind? What are the ways that can be curbed our mind? This is the thing that we have to consider. So what are the fundamental teachings that are assist to realize this Dhamma, that is the Dhamma-anupassana. So this is how we practice the way of detachment as well. Then Anicca-anupassana, contemplating of the impermanence. This is also one such term that we can follow up. Sabbe sankhara anicca. Every conditioned things are impermanent. Upada, Titi, Bhanga, as we discussed earlier. So, arising, persistence and the dissolution. So these are the three places where we can identify all things exist like this. Nothing to take as I, my and myself in the world. That is the way of detachment as well. Then Anapanasati, mindfulness of the breathing. So we are in the place where we call the seclusion. Long breaths, digang asasanto, digang asasamiti pajanati, body awareness, kayasming sangvuto, joy, piti, happiness, sukha, cultivating nekkhamma from sense desires, vivichakamehi. This is how we practice the detachment throughout the way of Anapanasati. So this is the way of detachment. So monastic disciplines. How we practice the detachment in the monastic disciplines. Pabbajja and Upasampada. Ordination. What is Upasampada? Higher ordination. Ordination and the higher ordination. Pabbajja and Upasampada requires abandoning lay life, family, wealth, possessions, embodying Kaya Viveka. So when we go forth home to homelessness, in that state, we have to leave everything, lay life, family, property, everything what we belong. Everything we have to leave and come to this homelessness. So this is what we have to do. And also Dutanga, ඇතිරියත් කාලේ. Dutanga, ascetic practices. So, Pindapata, so you have to think of only your food. What the purpose of food? Something like that. And you have only 3 robes, and also you are living under the tree. Nothing belongs in the world. So, this is what. Okay. In time, we can bind up. Yeah. So the how to culminate viraga and the anupadana, we were discussing on that. So before before we go to the conclusion, so there is something. What is the similarity between impermanence and the detachment? That is also one such interesting point that you have to think how it is related to the impermanence to detachment. That is also one such impermanent fact that we can discuss here. But detachment should be practiced by everyone to achieve the nibbana as soon as possible. That's what we have to discuss regarding this. Okay, thank you very much for listening me in the hardest time. Okay, I think if you have any sort of questions, please ask the Bhante Vinita. Because my time is very fast today. Okay, thank you very much. Before conclude our Dhamma sharing, let us give the closing salutations to the Buddha, Dhamma and the Sangha. Namo tassa samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa niyanikassa dhammassa. Namo tassa attarya puggala maha sanghassa. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Thank you very much.
Good morning. Thank you very much, Bhante Vijitapura Gunarathna Maha Thero. Bhante has done a great contribution. I think over the past 2-3 days, without having a good or enough sleep, he just searched the information through Tripitaka and prepared a document as well as an article on the same topic. So, the information gathered by him is unlimited and in different sense can be linked to the topic. Impermanence and detachment. I think we talk about impermanence, temporary nature of everything, and also detachment, free from craving, something like that. But in depth, Bhante has explained the real meanings of the impermanence and detachment with reference to suttas, commentaries and sub-commentaries. That's why I just passed that topic to Bhante. I know he does his best. In case of the topic, do not touch simply, and he will touch in depth. That's why I passed Four Noble Truths and these doctrinal matters to him. This is an interesting topic. He gave an interesting, detailed Dhamma talk to you, enhance your Dhamma skills. So, this would be a great pleasure for us to enjoy the Dhamma. I hope you all enjoy the Dhamma. So if you want to learn Dhamma more and more, you can contact Bhante. He is residing in Malacca while doing the PhD at University of Malaya. Remember, I introduced him earlier. So he taught me at monastic schools also. He is the teacher who taught me Sinhala literature and also the Pali new course and some other subjects. Even though he is an expert in Pali in particular, he can teach many things. English, Pali, Sanskrit, Sinhala, and also logic, astrology, many things. So we can learn all from one person. So that is the nature of our monastic schools. And Bhante is the one and only scholar in Sri Lanka in terms of Buddhist logic. He is the one and only university lecturer who teaches Buddhist logic. He is a philosopher. He is a very strong academician in the field of Pali literature as well, and also well versed in Tripitaka also. He has been working for the Dhammakaya Tripitaka project in Thailand for more than 5 years, as I know. So still we learn from him. He taught me in the university as well, and always Bhante is a blessing for the life of the devotees and the disciples. Life of the disciples. Even though he is a university lecturer having a higher position, he never forgets to go to the Dhamma school in temple. Every Sunday, whatever responsibilities, duties, obligations he has in the university, he just visit his temple and teaches at the Dhamma school and try to enhance the Dhamma skills of the students in the village through himself. That is more important. Such kind of dedications very rarely our academic monks do. So, but he dedicates his much time for that task also, and also the devotees without discriminating any devotee. He will serve all the devotees in an equal way. So that is his qualities. So Bhante is an important, is a good, a significant figure in this order. So you are lucky to have him in Malaysia. Last year also he delivered talks in the Novitiate program, and also Friday and Sunday talks while serving Sekya in Buddhist temple also. And also he will come to BMV to deliver some talks, Sunday and Friday talks. And also we expect him to be a speaker in next novitiate programs also. And so he cannot skip right now. Because he has been a part of Malaysia. However, Bhante has done an excellent job for us in delivering Dhamma knowledge. So by the firm determination of this Dhamma, may he be well and happy. May he possess a healthy and wealthy life with longevity. May his academic life be more successful, more happier, more comfortable, and may the Buddha, Dhamma and Sangha bless our Bhante, Venerable Vijitapura Gunarathna Maha Thero, and also may his parents possess these merits, may they attain Nibbana, and may the divine beings also bless Bhante. Sadhu. Sadhu. This would be the final talk of him for this novitiate program. Because tomorrow is the one and only day, then thereafter program also will end up. We have to say goodbye to you all for this year. That is also impermanent, and try to practice detachment. However, time is going right now. I would like to thank Bhante again and again, and thank you very much. Say sadhu.